What if every time you reacted, you were giving your power away? For years, maybe your whole life, you've been trained to answer noise with noise, disrespect with anger, pressure with panic, and provocation with immediate emotion. Someone insults you and your peace is gone. A message arrives and your heartbeat changes. One bad tone, one unfair comment, one act of betrayal, and suddenly your mind is no longer yours. But today, you'll discover 8 Stoic principles that will teach you how to become untouchable without becoming cold, how to grow stronger without saying more, and how to make silence feel more powerful than shouting ever could. Because silence, rightly used, is not weakness. It is discipline, it is command. It is the moment a man stops being dragged by the world and starts governing himself. In this video, you'll learn why most people lose control in the first few seconds, how the ancient Stoics trained themselves not to be ruled by insult or chaos, and why your calm presence can become the most feared thing in any room. Watch till the end. The principle you skip might be the one you need most. The Stoics understood something that modern people keep forgetting. Your life is not destroyed by events first. It is destroyed by your reaction to them. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote in Meditations, Book 4.3, "Men seek retreats for themselves, houses in the country, seashores and mountains, but it is in thy power whenever thou shalt choose to retire into thyself." He was reminding himself that peace is not a location, it is an inner command. That matters now more than ever. You live in an age of endless stimulation. Notifications, outrage, arguments, comparison, pressure, public judgment. Everything is designed to provoke you into instant reaction, and every instant reaction makes you easier to control. The more reactive you are, the more predictable you become. The more predictable you become, the less power you truly have. The Stoics were not weak men hiding from life. They were statesmen, teachers, soldiers, and survivors. They lived in political chaos, exile, war, illness, betrayal, and uncertainty. Yet they taught that the strongest person in the room is often the one who does not flinch, does not rush to defend his ego, and does not surrender his reason to the moment. In this video, we'll explore 8 Stoic principles that will help you master your impulses, endure provocation, protect your mind, and build the kind of silent strength that changes how people feel in your presence. And understand this before we begin, this is not about becoming passive. It is about becoming dangerous in the right way, calm, precise, disciplined, and hard to shake. Let's begin with the first principle, because if you miss this one, every principle after it becomes harder. 1. Control the first impulsively. Epictetus wrote in the Enchiridion. Remember that not he who gives ill language or a blow insults, but the principle which represents these things as insulting. This truth has guided disciplined minds for centuries. What does that mean in plain terms? It means the first wound is rarely the event itself. The real wound is the judgment you attach to it. Someone speaks sharply, ignores you, mocks you, or challenges you. In a split second, your mind labels it disrespect, humiliation, threat. And the moment you accept that label without examination, emotion takes the wheel. Modern psychology calls part of this process cognitive reappraisal. The ability to reinterpret what is happening before emotion hardens into reaction. Research links that kind of emotional regulation to prefrontal control and lower daily negative reactivity. In other words, the disciplined pause is not just philosophy, it is mental training. This solves the problem of instant self-betrayal. You know that moment. Your jaw tightens, your chest heats up, your tongue moves faster than your judgment, and later, hours later, you replay it, wishing you had stayed still. A weak moment can cost trust, reputation, and inner peace. So tomorrow morning, begin practicing one thing. When provoked, do not answer in the first emotional second. Breathe once. Name what happened without drama. Not, he disrespected me. Say, he spoke harshly. Not, my life is falling apart. Say, something unexpected happened. Then decide your response. At work, delay the angry email. In relationships, delay the defensive reply. In stress, delay the conclusion. Most people obey the first impulse, but you do not have to. You can interrupt the chain. You can create space where power lives. The man who controls the first second controls the rest of the moment, but knowing how to pause is only the beginning. You also need a place within yourself to return to when the world becomes loud. Let's move to principle 2. 2. Return to the inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Nowhere either with more quiet or more freedom from trouble does a man retire than into his own soul." This profound truth has anchored strong minds in every age. Most people think silence is external. They think peace begins when the room is quiet, when people finally understand them, when the pressure stops, when life becomes fair. That is an illusion. Stoicism teaches that silence is first an internal condition. If your mind is disordered, even a quiet room becomes a battlefield. If your mind is ordered, even quiet room becomes a battlefield. If your mind is ordered, even conflict loses much of its power over you. This principle solves emotional homelessness. Without an inner refuge, you become dependent on circumstances for stability. A bad conversation ruins your day. A setback destroys your confidence. A stranger's opinion invades your sleep. You keep looking outward for relief because you've never trained yourself to return inward. So build the habit of inner retreat, not escape retreat. There is a difference. Set aside 5 minutes each day with no phone, no music, no input. Sit still. Observe what your mind is doing. Ask, what is actually under my control right now? In the middle of conflict, silently return to that question. In the middle of pressure, return again. This becomes your citadel, your mental fortress. Weak men need the world to calm down before they can think. Strong men learn to think before they respond, even when the world refuses to calm down. That is why some people carry authority without ever raising their voice. Their center is not for sale. And if you think this is powerful, what comes next sharpens it even more, because many of your reactions are not to reality at all but to fear. Let's move to principle 3. 3. Stop suffering in advance. Seneca wrote in Letters to Lucilius, "There are more things, Lucilius, likely to frighten us than there are to crush us. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This has saved countless people from battles that never truly arrived. Read that slowly. You suffer twice when you react too early, first in your mind, then in the event, if the event even comes. The Stoics were relentless about this. They knew fear multiplies itself through anticipation. The mind writes a disaster script, then trembles before its own invention. You're not reacting to life, you're reacting to a prediction. This principle solves anxiety-driven reactivity, the unread message, the delayed reply, the meeting tomorrow, the tone in someone's voice, the possibility of failure. Left unchecked, imagination becomes a tyrant. You begin defending yourself against shadows, and by the time reality arrives, you're already exhausted. So when you feel the surge of panic, ask, what has actually happened right now? Separate facts from forecasts. Write them down if you must. Then force yourself into present action. If there is a problem, define the next step. If there is no action to take, stop feeding the phantom. This is especially important at night, when the mind turns uncertainty into prophecy. Most people live like hunted animals, reacting to imagined danger, but you are not here to tremble before possibilities. You are here to face facts, not fantasies. Calm is easier when you stop rehearsing collapse. But before we go further, you need to understand one of the deepest Stoic weapons of all, changing meaning. Let's move to principle 4. 4. Rewrite the meaning. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, book 8.47, "If thou art pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs thee, but thy own judgment about it. And it is in thy power to wipe out this judgment now." This is Stoicism at full force. This does not mean pain is imaginary. It means interpretation comes before emotional captivity. An event happens. Then your mind assigns meaning. This is humiliation. This is proof I'm not enough. This setback means I'm losing. Stoicism asks you to challenge the meaning before the emotion becomes identity. That solves the problem of emotional overreach. One criticism becomes total rejection. One failure becomes permanent defeat. One insult becomes proof that you must attack back. This is how small events grow into major inner chaos, not because they are inherently devastating, but because your judgment enlarges them. So practice renaming events with discipline. A rejection is not your worth, it is information. A delay is not disaster, it is delay. Criticism is not always. Attack it can be data. Betrayal is painful, yes, but it is also revelation. The moment you shift the meaning, you shift your power. At work, This keeps you strategic. In relationships, it keeps you from escalating. Under pressure, it keeps your mind usable. Weak minds accept the first interpretation emotion offers. Strong minds interrogate it. They ask, is this true? Is this useful? Is this final? That is how you stop becoming a prisoner of your own story. And now we move into something even harder: what to do when the wound feels personal. Let's move to principle 5. 5. Starve the insult. Epictetus wrote in the Enchiridion section 5. Men are disturbed not by things but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. He returned to the same steel truth again and again because human beings keep forgetting it. An insult only survives if you keep feeding it. That is the part most people never understand. They replay it, they defend against it, they imagine a perfect comeback 3 hours too late. They make one person's words the center of their mental world, and in doing so, they hand their dignity to the offender. This principle solves ego captivity. The need to prove, the need to answer, the need to make sure no one ever gets away with it. But here is the harder truth. Many reactions are not about justice. They are about ego refusing to go unseen. And ego, when wounded, is loud, impulsive, and deeply expensive. So the next time someone throws contempt at you, do 3 things. First, say less than you want to say. Second, do not explain yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. Third, let time expose what argument cannot. In many situations, your silence will reveal more strength than a perfect verbal strike ever could. Not always, but often. Most people are ruled by the fear of seeming weak, so they react, they perform, they overtalk. But true strength does not panic at being misread for a moment. It can afford patience. It can afford stillness. And remember this, because the next principle takes that stillness and turns it into something even more dangerous. Let's move to principle 6. 6. Make silence your revenge. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, book 6.6, the best way of avenging thyself is not to become like the wrongdoer. This is not softness. It is superiority through self-command. When someone lies, most people want to lie back. When someone humiliates, they want to humiliate harder. When someone brings chaos, they want to answer with greater force. But that is not victory. That is contamination. You become shaped by the very thing you claim to oppose. This solves the cycle of moral decline. One reaction leads to another. You justify your anger because they started it. You excuse your cruelty because they deserved it. But every time you abandon your standard to match a lower one, your enemy has already entered your character. That is a far greater loss than the original offense. So if you are wronged, respond from principle, not from ego. If action is needed, take clean action. Set the boundary. End the relationship. Document the betrayal. Withdraw access. Speak clearly if necessary, but do not descend. Let your response be calm enough that no one can mistake it for emotional collapse. That is how silence becomes force, not passive, but precise. Weak men think revenge is noise. Strong men know the deepest revenge is remaining unbroken, disciplined, and impossible to drag downward. Your enemy expects reaction. What unsettles them is restraint. What exposes them is your refusal to mirror them. The most powerful principle is still coming, because even silence can be ruined if your speech is undisciplined. Let's move to principle 7. 7. Speak only. What a strength can defend. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Few sentences contain so much discipline in so few words. Stoic silence is not just about withholding reaction. It is also about purifying speech. Every careless sentence drains authority. Every exaggerated claim weakens credibility. Every emotional outburst that is neither true nor necessary leaves you smaller afterward. The Stoics knew that speech is not cheap. Speech shapes character. This solves the problem of self-inflicted damage. Many people are not defeated by enemies. They are defeated by their own mouth. They reveal too much in anger, promise too much in pride, complain too much in weakness, and gossip because silence makes them uncomfortable. Then they wonder why they feel scattered and powerless. So apply 2 gates before you speak. Is it true? Is it necessary? If it fails either test, Let it die in silence. At work, this will make your words heavier. In relationships, it will prevent unnecessary damage. Under stress, it will stop you from turning temporary emotion into permanent consequence. Speak slower. Cut the excess. Make your words rare enough to matter. Most people speak to discharge emotion, but you speak to express judgment. That difference changes everything. A disciplined tongue creates a disciplined life. When your speech becomes cleaner, your presence becomes harder to challenge. But can you stay centered when the world gets loud again? That is where the final principle proves whether your silence is real. Let's move to principle 8. 8. Train calm in calm. Seneca wrote in Letters to Lucilius, letter 56, that even amid the racket around him, all outdoors may be bedlam, provided that there is no disturbance within. This is the final test of Stoic power. Anyone can seem calm in ideal conditions. The real question is, who are you when the pressure rises? When people misunderstand you? When the room is loud? When life refuses to cooperate? Seneca's point is brutal and beautiful. External noise is not the true enemy. Inner disorder is. This solves the excuse that peace is impossible in modern life. Yes, the world is loud. Yes, your environment is demanding. Yes, people are careless, dramatic, manipulative, and restless. But if your entire stability depends on silence outside you, then you will always remain fragile. Stoicism trains a stronger standard, composure in motion. So practice calm where you actually live, not on a mountain in theory, but in traffic, in meetings, in tense conversations, in family strain, in uncertainty. Slow your breathing when noise rises. Relax your shoulders before speaking. Lower your tone when others raise theirs. Return to the inner citadel we discussed earlier. Remember, the point is not to avoid all storms. The point is to stop becoming one. Weak minds need perfect conditions to stay steady. Strong minds create steadiness within imperfect conditions. And once you learn that, silence stops being an absence. It becomes presence. Heavy, disciplined, undeniable presence. Now let's bring all of this together. So here is what you've learned. Control the first impulse, because power is often won or lost in the first emotional second. Return to the inner citadel, because peace that depends on the world is not peace at all. Stop suffering and advance, because imagination has broken more men than reality ever did. Rewrite the meaning, because events do not own you until your judgment surrenders. Starve the insult, because contempt only rules you when you keep replaying it. Make silence your revenge, because becoming like the wrongdoer is the deepest defeat. Speak only what strength can defend, because careless words weaken the man who speaks them. Train calm in chaos, because true Stoic power is proven under pressure, not in comfort. These aren't just ideas. They are tools to harden your mind, reclaim your dignity, and turn silence into authority. Not the silence of fear, not the silence of suppression, the silence of command, the silence of a man who no longer needs to perform his strength because he has built it. And if this truth hits you deeply, understand something important. You are not powerless against your own reactions. You can retrain them. You can slow them down. You can strip drama of its grip over your mind. You can become the kind of person who cannot be easily provoked, manipulated, or emotionally hijacked. That transformation will not happen in one night, but it can begin today with one pause, one restrained reply, one insult you refuse to feed, one moment of stillness when the old version of you would have exploded. Tap like if this resonated with you. Drop your affirmation in the comments which principle hit hardest. And subscribe for unapologetic Stoic truth every single week. Because the world is full of noise, full of bait, full of people who profit from your lack of discipline. Do not give them your mind. Do not give them your peace. Do not give them your power. Become the master of your mind. Rebuild, refocus, rise.